everyone, it's Caroline, and I'm here to give you a lesson on rewriting logarithmic and exponential equations. Ooh, this is going to be fun. So this is designed for an Algebra 2 or a Pre-Calc student who's heard of logarithmic expressions in their class, but hasn't gotten too far into it, because today we're going to talk about the connection between logarithmic expressions and exponential expressions. So we're going to rewrite different expressions and rearrange some things, and it's going to be really fun. We're going to get the feng shui of the equations. It's going to be great. So remember logarithmic and exponential equations. Maybe you forgot what they were. Let me remind you real quick. So if you could recall, we often abbreviate logarithmic. Most people just call them logs because it's shorter and faster and people tend to be lazy. So the expression that we use is log. You have a log button on your graphing calculator, but we're not going to use your log button today. There's something very special about that log button that we'll get into another time. But if we have an expression that looks like this is a logarithmic. This is actually an equation. And the 2 is a teeny tiny little subscript of the word log. This is the base of your logarithmic expression. And the way you would read this equation is log base 2 of 4 equals 2. Similarly, we have a base in an exponential equation, but the base is much larger. And we read this as 2 to the second power equals 4. As you can see from this particular example, logs and exponential expressions are related to each other. And you might be wondering, how are they related to each other? You can probably sense that they're related somehow, but you might want to know, like, exactly how are they related? Logs, exponents. People always say to me in my math classes, why are we throwing words in there? But log is actually just a mathematical operation, and it's the inverse of an exponential. So inverse operations are operations that undo each other. Ones that you already know are like addition and subtraction, multiplication and division. Those are things that when you have something that you're multiplying and you divide by, it gets rid of that coefficient. So logs and exponential expressions are the exact same thing. They just sound funny. No big deal. You guys are smart mathematicians. We can start sounding funny. So no big deal. Now let's talk about how we can rewrite the expressions, because every exponential equation could be written as a log equation. And today we're going to practice on going back and forth between the two. The reason you need to know how to go back and forth between the two is because in the next couple of weeks, as math in your class gets harder and harder and you are just zooming through awesomeness, you're going to need to know how to rewrite logs and exponential equations. It's a ticket to awesomeness, and you need to know how to do it. So let's look at some examples together, and then I'll have you try some on your own. You're going to be like, Caroline, this is so easy. Let's move on to equations, and that'll get really, really fun. So let's talk first about rewriting exponential equations to an expression using logs. So if we look, and let's use a green. If we look at this first expression here, we have 3 to the third power equals 27. 3 is your base. So when we rewrite this using logs, 3 is still going to be my base, but remember when we have logs, this funny looking expression, the 3 is really tiny and next to the log. It's a subscript. So we have 3, and now here's the part that's tricky. The answer on this side, the cloud guy, goes on the left-hand side of your equation next to the log. So cloud guy, 27. And then the only number left in your log, what was your exponent, is now your answer. So we're going to do the same process for number 2. So I know I have to rewrite it with logs. So let's write the word log. One of the longest operations in math. Hate writing log, but we got to do it. Here's our base. So I'm going to put a base down here, and the reason I'm going to put parentheses around my -2 is just so that it shows we're talking about -2. Whenever we have negatives, we tend to put parentheses around them. And then we have cloud guy. So cloud guy goes here again. Put some parentheses around that negative, and that's going to equal our exponent, which is 3. Awesome. That's great. Okay, so let's try going the other way real quick. So before we run out of time, let's do 2 expressions that I give you log forms. And let's rewrite them real quick in exponents. And actually this way is easier because it makes a nice little circle. So if we're going to rewrite log base 6 of 36 equals 2, we want to start with our base, always where we start, so 6, and then we make a circle. to the second power equals 36. 6 to the second power equals 36. It does help if you sing it a little. Okay, let's do the second one real quick. Negative 3 to the second power equals 9. Negative 3 to the second power equals 9. It really does help if you sing it. It's fun. Negative 3 to the second power is 9. Woo! Thanks so much for watching on rewriting. In our next video, we're going to talk about how we can use rewriting these expressions to solve super fun equations. Yeah!